Hi, fandom. I am coming to you talking about How to Get Away with Murder is back. Oh my goodness, you guys. Please make sure you watch it and support it. Wiki said we only had 5.11 viewers, and we usually have somewhere between 8 and 9. So please make sure you're watching it and supporting it. We want to keep good programming on. Big thanks to AMC. Big thanks to ABC and Shondaland for giving us another season. This is season 3, episode 1. We Are Good People Now is the name of it. Be warned, spoiler warning for those who haven't watched. Go watch and come back. And also flashback warning. A lot of flashbacks. So if you're not paying attention, it will mess you up. So anyway, we'll do a brief recap. Annalise and Wes make a connection concerning his dad. She tells him who he is. Wes and Frank decide to go see the dad. When he goes to see the dad gets shot, killed in front of him, and splatters blood all over his pretty face. Annalise picks up Frank from the police station, and right when Wes gets the blood splatter, we cut to a scene where they're covering the body up and putting it in the back of a police vehicle labeled crime unit. So Wes is questioned briefly and told the detectives that he just found a random guy on the street and was just asking him for directions. So he did not allude to the fact that he was trying to make contact with his father. They basically said, well, don't be available if we have any other questions, and they let him go. Annalise picks him up, takes him to a deserted area, and she basically asks him what happened. He explains that Frank prompted him to go see his dad, and he said he would be there to give him support. But when his dad got shot in front of him, he looked around and Frank was gone. Annalise and Wes walk a little bit into a deserted forest area and shout or cry, or they were trying to get all their emotions out about the fact that Frank, basically he went to the dark side, and that his dad was a creep to begin with, but now he's a dead creep. So we don't have to worry about Wallace Mahoney so much. We may have to worry about what he's about. But anyway, into the story. Right now we have Frank changing his appearance. He buzzes his hair off and he's gone. Then we have flash forward to present day, I believe, and it says September. Wes and Laura meet in front of the campus, where she basically is telling him hi and why didn't you respond to my texts, and he was basically saying, well, I have a girlfriend, I didn't want to. And the girlfriend's name is Maggie. The Keating 5 meet in class, and we meet a new student named Drake who approaches Keating 5 and basically shames them because of their low ranks in the student body. And he says to them that they're only in the class because, of Professor Keating. This new class is a clinic, and it's going to be working with pro bono cases. And she's basically telling them that they'll have to compete for who has first and second chair. The first case they're presenting is a guy named Kareem Asif, who is a refugee found with 2 ounces of marijuana and is subject to deportation. Drake shows up Michaela, and so Annalise gives them the assignment to go do some research. She wants to hear their strategies to decide who's going to have first and second chair for this pro bono case. When she's making this announcement, she notices someone posted a flyer with her name with the words killer on it. She meets the five after class and just, consoles them, tell them, everything's fine. We're good people now. And that if you don't believe that, just keep telling yourself that till you believe it. Bonnie drops a carrot about some gang leader needing representation, but Annalise really snubs that off and walks away. We see Annalise go to a phone she has hidden in her jewelry box in her bedroom and makes contact with someone and then hides the phone. It's a flip phone. She hides it back. Then we flash back to May, where Laurel and Annalise are having a conversation. Annalise is upset about Laurel possibly still keep in contact with Frank, and Laurel explains that she is not on board with Frank and that she is committed to Annalise. In the present, Frank, you see her leaving a voicemail on Frank's phone. Then she actually goes in to meet Mr. Asif and offer, to get, I guess, some more information for his case. Mr. Asif says he will talk to her, but only if she turns off a recording. Then we go back to the class where Drake is basically saying he wants the defense for the client to be apologetic and to rely on the sympathy of the judge for not pressing forward on deportation. West's approach for defense would be to ask for witnesses and to show that Mr. Asif is a contributing factor into his community. Annalise decides to make West first chair and Mr. Drake second chair, even though Laurel came in to say that the daughter of Mr. Asif had the marijuana. But Annalise basically shut her down and said, no, we're going to go with the more practical defense. West and Drake are the chairs. Then we flash back to June where Annalise and Connor have a conversation. And Connor was ignoring Annalise. She comes to talk to him, and Connor tells her that she thinks that Oliver really wants to work for her and that he doesn't want Oliver to be tainted by them. Annalise promises not to hire them, and we go back to the present day where Oliver is having a job interview where he comes clean about sabotaging Connor's transfer to Stanford. And Annalise initially didn't want to hire him at all, but after that and finding out, how cunning he was, she decided to go on and do it. Hashtag Archella, Arcala. It's basically a come see, come see type of relationship. Michaela does not admit to having a relationship with Archer. When they have a group meeting, Archer sort of has a look on his face like it was disappointing. Then we go to Nate and Annalise. They're cuddling up and being, a cozy couple setting basically. And she does tell him about the killer flyer. He gets a little upset and she says, she doesn't want to bother the school president about it. She's already having problems with them. And Nate basically says, we don't know if this person is unhinged or not. You have to be careful. We go to another flashback to July. Archer comes to Annalise looking for a loan where she basically tells him, you're white and you need to figure it out and I'm not going to help you. Archer explains that he chose her over his family. His father killed himself and his mother is not talking to him. And Annalise responds, well, that's your opinion of things. You need to figure out what to do. So present date, we go back to another Archella moment. I keep on saying Arcala moment where they're trying to hook up. Let me say hook up. when someone knocks on the door, it looks like Archer is like the dorm manager. So they were coming to him about some medical stuff. And while he's trying to get the dormees to leave, Michaela looks at his notes from class and takes off when he finishes. Wes gives the opening statement and we fast forward to the first day of the case. West gives an opening statement, and he does line up at least 15 witnesses on the behalf of Mr. Asif. Michaela interrupts like she does to tell Annalise she has another strategy for trying to win the case. Annalise drops Drake and makes Michaela the second chair because what Michaela is presenting could be a legal finding where they didn't give a proper representation of Mr. Asif's rights before they proceeded. So we flash back to August, where Annalise is helping Michaela out of a drinking citation. Michaela blows up on her and tells her, that she's not normal anymore. And Annalise tells Michaela basically that you're a survivor. Then we go back to the court case. The judge looks at the lesser charges and addresses the court. Wes and Michaela lose this case, and Mr. Asif is ordered to be deported. Oliver and Connor start talking about the possible hiring for Annalise and the Stanford situation once they make it home. Oliver is disturbed that Connor is so accepting of him, being bad. And it ends with Oliver ordering them to break up, that they're, maybe in a poisonous situation. Then we flash back to August. Annalise is meeting with the president of the university and basically being told she's being demoted to a research professor status, where she offers to make this pro bono clinic and, to help her reputation. And the president basically says that the Keating 5 group are the lowest performer, or some of the lowest performing students that she's ever had, and they call themselves giving her a break because maybe it's too much for both her and the students she selected. And that's how that ends. But we know that the clinic was approved because that's where they were at talking about Mr. Asif's case. So present date, Bonnie and Elise notice that the killer flyer is even online, and they're making speculation it's possibly Frank. They're not really sure. Annalise tells Bonnie that she's not a killer and she really doesn't want to make Frank push her to that level. We go over to Laurel confronting Wes in his apartment about his cold behavior toward her. And Wes just tells her, he cares about her, but he can only associate her with Frank right now. And, he can't get past what Frank did. Annalise gets a call from that flip phone telling her to call it back ASAP. When she does, the man on the other line is telling her he found Frank. And what does she want him to do? To kill Frank? Is it, what are we going to do now that I know where he's at? Well, Annalise is not able to make a decision on that. She's apprehensive on that. She's disturbed. As she said earlier, she's not a killer. So while she's thinking about it, Frank sneaks up behind the guy, attacks him. The phone falls from his hand, and Annalise drops her phone in the drawer, distraught over what could be going on. Right when she puts the phone in her desk drawer, Nate comes in. She excuses herself to the restroom, and then we flash forward to 2 months into the future, where Annalise is walking toward that scene that we talked about at the beginning, where there was a body covered up and being loaded into the police unit, I guess with a sheet over it, meaning the person is dead. The person is revealed only to Annalise. She screams, she hollers, she turns away from the police unit, and that's when we notice that her house, or the law practice, is being burnt. So a lot's going on, you guys, for season 3. All we know for sure is that Annalise has someone in Annalise's group is dying. We don't know who it is, and we'll probably have plenty of time to make speculation about that coming up soon.